I'm Yogita Kumar, and if you can hear me, can you ping me in the chat quickly so that I can come to know that you hear me properly?
Everything is good.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah. So this session is about the responsive design in Flutter. But before that, what is Flutter and who am I with the Flutter community? I'm Yogita Kumar. I'm working with the Flutter community. I'm a GD for Flutter and also Women Tech Maker Ambassador. I started working with Flutter from last 4 years, 5 years, and today I'm leading the Flutter mobile app development at the QCS, and I really enjoy the mobile development with the Flutter. So if you're here to know more about Flutter, means if you know what is Flutter, Flutter is just a language, a technology to develop the application. Then today you get all about the Flutter, what is Flutter, why it is used, and the important one, why I love Flutter.
Yogita, you can hear.
Yeah, you can hear
Okay.
me.
Yeah, it's perfect now. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. So Flutter is the Google UI toolkit for building beautiful natively compiled application for mobile, web, desktop, and embedded devices from the single code base. What do you mean by single code base? If you are writing the application for Android and iOS devices for web and desktop application, with the Flutter, it is possible that you can write only one code base, and with the little bit settings, you can enable your code on the different devices on different platform. This is the beauty of Flutter, that you can save your power, you can save your sources. One single developer can work on the different application along with the different platforms. So Flutter is takes control of every pixel of your screen. As a designer, you never say no to designer, because designer gives you lots of complicated UI, wireframe and everything. But Flutter allows you to control your UI, control your screen of each and every pixel, and you can design your UI very beautifully. And nowadays there are thousands of applications are available on the App Store and Play Store that is developed in Flutter. So it is taking out the more place in the market also. And it's a animation point of view, like mobile application, everybody needs animation while swapping their mobiles and everything. So Flutter provides you lots of nice animation with the standard tween, and it's a physics space, means it doesn't belongs to one particular platform. It you can amend your animations with 2D and 3D also using the Flutter. Also, if you see the survey from the Stack Overflow, the Flutter popularity is going to be increased nowadays. React Native, Xamarin, and also the Flutter is now winning the race. And more in the next few years, we can see Flutter at the top. Also, the Flutter conducted survey, and they found that Flutter is going to be popular all over the world in the developers. Flutter, while designing the application in Flutter, it used the Dart language. Dart is a programming language developed by Google. It's an open source programming language. A developer can contribute into that language, and that's why it has a huge community support for Dart and the Flutter. It's the class-based single inheritance with mixins, object-oriented language with C-style syntax, support interfaces, abstract classes, and strong typing. Dart supports the single inheritance, but along with this, it also supports the mixin. Mixin is similar to your class with the methods and properties, and you can use with your application. It's the object-oriented programming language. It's easy. Object-oriented programming language is very easy to write a code very cleanly, very neatly, nicely. It supports the interfaces, abstract classes, and strong typing. Strong typing never allows you to store the different data type value in the another data type. So it gives you extra benefit with that. Dart is easy busy lemon squeezy. Here I put a single one code base for the Dart. If you see, this is the simple program in the Dart by using the string variable. By understanding this, you can come to know that Dart is really easy to understand. Like in main function, if you declare the string variable and stored with the double quotes or single quotes, you can store, and always ends with the semicolon. In the Dart, it prints the statement with the print welcome to, and while printing the value of variable, you have to attach the dollar symbol. So easy, isn't it? Also, you can simply print your string with the double quotes or single quotes again. And to print a simple string variable, you have to just write. Again, you can have another different symbol. This is just a code sample to understand. That is really easy. Don't be afraid of that. And this integer variable is just like our regular variable. You can simply write as a pseudocode also, integer equals to 6, and for printing you have to put a dollar symbol, and to print a value, or if you want to do some mathematical operation, use the curly braces. And after run this code snippet, you will get the output. Now this is the Dartpad. You can easily access the Dart. If you type in Google Dartpad, you easily get this Dartpad, and you can practice a simple Dart symbols or simple Dart code over there with the main function. Try with the different decision making statements, some variables. That will make you learning easy. What is the app structure in the Flutter? Like while developing the mobile application, if you see, this is your mobile screen. I just put one snippet that understand the mobile main screen, and you can put the different labels, panels. We can put the numbers, some dynamic data. We can use variety of widgets to make our UI more attractive. We can use the geo map locations in Flutter. That is also possible right now in Flutter. So we can develop a very beautiful apps over here. In Flutter, the main important components is widget. Like if you decided to write a book, how your book is going to be decided? Book, then book is divided into chapters get divided into paragraphs, paragraph is divided into sentence, then words, then punctuation marks, and so on. Similarly, our Flutter application is everything is widgets. The main screen of the Flutter is known as scaffold. And with the scaffold, you can put the different widgets like app bar, you can put the text. For more text, long text, you can put the rich text. Safe area to avoid the battery section on the mobile screen, we can use the safe area. Column, rows, to design our component vertically, horizontally, we can use the column and rows. Container, there are different types of different style of button available in Flutter. You can list out your component. There are different layouts. You can list styles are there, steppers form are there. Nowadays we can see the steppers form in mobile application, complete first step, complete second step, then it navigate to your next step. So you can get with the Flutter that one also with the stepper. Divider, you can see the dividers into the list. That is also possible. Dialog button, you can see variety of dialog buttons. You can design your custom dialogues with Flutter. That is also possible. Simple dialog, alert dialog, bottom shift that you get. If you type in Google that pub.dev, it gives you whole library that you can use while designing your Flutter application. Is the widget library is maintained by the developers. It's open source, and we can easily access, we can search over there that what is our requirement. According to that, we can get our libraries and we can add this package in our application, and we just simply use that one. Now, this is the simple structure while designing the Flutter applications. Like here you can see, if I develop one screen that has the image and some details of that title, and then it has some ratings, and also it shows me the buttons. Now how it get designed in the Flutter application? It's the column, vertical row, components placed vertically, so it's a column. And now this column is divided into different parts, that images, again, this part over here, this buttons over here, and this extra text. If you see over here, now this component, second component, that is the title and the rating, is get divided into under subsection that I told you, that your book is divided into chapter, chapter into paragraph, paragraph into sentence. Similarly, like that, the second component is divided into the, again, the column of two text, and this two text of column is into the row. If you see there is a row of this text column and the icons and the text again. If you see button section, there is a row with the 3 children, and these 3 children, 1 children column with the 2 children, isn't it? It's complicated. If you see, it's complicated, but while it designing, it's so easy and it's so simple that all the widgets name are very properly named, so that by the name only you can understand row, what is meant by row, what is meant by column, what is meant by list style, radio button, checkbox. So it is easy to use for the new developers also. And when we design this is the widget tree get formed behind the scene. This widget tree, in Widget Tree, you come to know that material app is your base app, and on that you are going to develop all these widgets. As you traverse between the widget tree, it gets specialized at the bottom, and at the top, it's the complex, the base structure of your Flutter applications. To install the Flutter application, now if you get excited, you want to try it out with the Flutter, to install, just type the Flutter install in Google. You will get this site. Go over there, and according to your type, means if you want to install for Windows, Mac, and just follow the steps. Sorry, there is a simple documentation, and if you follow the documentation, you can easily install the Flutter for your applications. And we are having workshop for Flutter on 2nd March, 5 to 7 p.m. And if you are ready with your installation, we can create one demo application with the Flutter, and you come to know how to design the applications over there. So this is about why Flutter, what is Flutter. If you have any question about this, can we get that question, Khalida, right now?
The questions. So you have one question, so I will read it for you. So can you develop for multiple platforms on a single dev platform? Example, while developing, working on Linux books, and develop for iPhone or iPad platforms and see the UX in a simulator.
Like single dev platform. If you like Flutter application, if you develop the Flutter application, I'm using the develop application with Android Studio, but for iOS system, I need Xcode for that to build. So there is always, you can use the single code base across the different platform, but you have to use that software also. Without that, we can't use, without Xcode, we can't build for iOS or iPhone.
Okay, great. I don't know if she answered if the answer is enough, but you can put other questions in the chat. I think we can start. We can start the second part.
We can start the second part also, and if until then if you have any questions, please put it in the chat so we can go through it at the end.
So there is a new joiner, so Shan Alam. So welcome to our event. So he asked about briefing. So the first part, it was an introduction. So if you have already some skills or some knowledge about Flutter, you can just continue watching the video. Okay. So the second part, the parts of the talk, it will be Yogita, about.
It's about the responsive applications in Flutter.
Great.
Okay. Now we see what is Flutter, and we come to know that Flutter is used for the different single code base used across the different platforms. Now, when you design the application for mobile and when you use the single code base for the web application or desktop application, you get a bigger screen. So you need to design your application that is responsive to user devices, right? You cannot just consider the mobile screen and just design the application according to that. What if that application goes to bigger screen? Your application will be visible to only half of the screen and half of the screen looks empty. That doesn't nice user experience. So we have to, the first question comes in mind, that why we care about the application responsiveness. As the screen resolution stat worldwide, there are number of screen devices available in the market with the different screen sizes, with the different screen resolutions. And you develop this application, and this application get installed on this number of variety devices through the App Store and Play Store. Now, the user who installed this application, that who expect that this application should adopt and respond to their application, their devices, right? If it is not, user will be dissatisfied, disappointed, and this is the biggest nightmare for the developers. So, and also the 80% of business won't allow the poor designed application for their business because it just restrict the customers. Now, Flutter, you can use the Flutter to develop the application throughout a number of devices like a web, desktop, Android, iPads, iOS, also the Apple Watches and everything. So while designing the responsive application in Flutter, you have to take care of some things like you have to you have to take care of the screen size of the different devices. Sorry. You need to tweak the navigation strategy, because if you see the same application, if you open in the web and if you that application you open in the mobile, there is a navigation strategies. In the mobile, it will open navigate into different way, and the web in a different way. You have to take care of the orientation. We cannot rotate our desktop device, but we definitely rotate our mobile devices, right? The landscape and the portrait mode. So we have to take care of that one also. So mostly the first important part we have to take care while designing the application, that our application is adaptive and responsive. Now, what is the difference between adaptive and the responsive? Adaptive is the adopt your application after installation to the platform capabilities, changing functionality based on platform's capability. If your application get installed on a smartphone, it will allow you the GPS, biometric ID, card scanning, QR code reading, right? And the same one, if your application installed into the old phones, suppose some old Android phones, there you cannot scan the camera code through the cameras, you cannot get the QR code reading, these facilities or in that phone. So this is called the adaptive of the application, adaptiveness of your application. And what is responsiveness? The UI representation, how your UI get changes. If you get a very narrow screen, the UI looks like according to the narrow screen. If you install the application on iPad, it gets a little bit bigger screen, so your UI get visible according to that screen. Now, your application can be adaptive, can be responsive. Otherwise, it can be both adaptive or responsive. Otherwise, none of this. So just take care of this, how you want to design your application, adaptive, responsive, or both. Now, how can we design the responsive Flutter application? Let's see. Once I got a client and he said, Yogita, I want to develop one application for my customer. And one of the screen is just like, I want the image and some text below that. Can you do that? I said, okay, it's very easy. I will do, no worries. But he said, okay, but after this, I want this application should be displayed on the customer's mobile, on the iPads for my staff, and on the big screen on the kiosk. I said, okay, the screens matter. So I go with the media query. Media query is one of the widget in Flutter that gives you the height, width, and the other screen details. So it's easy to get the screen details and design your application accordingly. So I go with the media query and it give me all the details like the application installed on what screen, what is the height and width, and according to that, I can design the application. If you see, this is just one code snippet for the Flutter. There is a class responsive demo, and in the screen size, this is the build function that always draw the components on the screens. So in this build function, I am getting the screen size by using the media query. And this media query will give me the context size. Context means that current device on which the application get installed. That gives me the width, and according to that, I'm just with the simple condition, I'm just looking if the screen size is greater than 600, show the UI parts into the horizontal layout, otherwise vertical layout. Now, from where I get this 600? This is the Microsoft Pixel. They, sorry, they give us, if it is more than 600, then it's the big screen and you can treat it like that. If it is for medium, it is giving you 641 to 1007, and for large, more than 1008. So I just display the UI according to that. Now what is into the horizontal layout and vertical layout? In horizontal layout, I just consider one row, and in that row, I am going to display my image view and that text that customer demand, one image and one text. And one in vertical layout is the vertical column that displays the image view and the text view. Now, what is image view? Image view is just for the demo, I take one random image from the network. Now in Flutter, you can see the image.network, which allows you to pick one random image from the internet. Also, there is image.asset, which allows you to get an image from your device, from your local storage. And in the text view, I'm going to show one column, that is the vertical view of the text, and some more text. Now, when I display, while developing, I just run that application and I see that, okay, in the portrait mode, it looks good. The image comes, text also comes. But when I rotate the device, the screen gets bigger and it gives me the pixel overflow error. I need to solve this. For that, I just wrap the row with the expanded widget. Now, expanded widget is the another widget in the Flutter, which helps to separate the screen equally among the widget inside row and a column. It can be used only by the descendant of Flex widget. Flex widget, it's one widget in the Flutter that gives you the flex of your components. Means if your column and a row, and it is allow you to take the space between the row and the column. So let's see how we do. With the row, that image view and the text view is wrapped between the expanded widget. What this means? When you rotate your devices and your device comes into the landscape mode, it is going to show you row of image and the text view. And whatever that row space is now equally divided between the image and text with the help of this expanded widget. Also in the portrait view, just for the consistency, I put for the column also the image view and text view wrapped with the expanded so that it takes the space equally between the column. And then I check the outcome for this and it shows me without pixel overflow error, and I can show the image and the text now. So it's good. Let's go forward. Sorry. Now orientation with media query. Media query also provide us the orientation, means if you want to design your application based on the orientation, not with the screen size. If you have some YouTube videos and you want to play that YouTube videos on the landscape mode only, not in the portrait mode, in that case, this orientation, you will get the media query of context orientation. And this orientation is the enum. It has only two values, portrait and the other one is landscape. And by checking the simple condition, you can display your UI components, whether it is vertical or horizontal. The next one is the layout builder for responsive design in the Flutter. Using the layout builder class, you will get the box constraint object, which can be used for determining the max width and max height of the widget. Also, the layout builder provides you the max mean width and mean height also. And according to that, you can design your application. Now, what is the difference between the media query and layout builder? Okay, so media query, what media query give? It always give you the screen size for end to end, but layout builder gives you the size of the widget. Mean it will give you the size, mean height, mean height, sorry, mean height, mean width, max height, max width for the parent widget, and according to that you can design the child widget. See the example for layout builder. This is again our responsive demo, the build function. Scaffold is the main base of our Flutter application. App bar, the title of the Flutter app, title of your mobile application or application, and you can make over there. Now in the body of that screen, you can see the layout builder. It gives me two objects. One is context and one is constraints. Now here the constraint is more important, which give me the max width, max height, mean height. And according to that, I'm just checking if the constraint max width is greater than 600. If yes, then display the horizontal layout, otherwise vertical layout. Again, the horizontal layout is our row and vertical layout is column. Now, this is portrait mode, landscape mode, but what happened if the device is too narrow and I want to populate my UI components in a single row, in a single column? So what should I do for that? Just add one symbol condition again, if else condition. If the constraint is max width 600, horizontal layout, max width greater than 300, give me the vertical layout. If it is less than 300, means narrow device, then display the narrow layout. Design based by orientation. Again, if you want to design your application based on only the orientation, there is another widget, that is the orientation builder in Flutter, which only take care of the orientation of your device, no other things. So in orientation builder, it gives you the landscape mode or portrait mode. Again, here orientation is the enum, which has only two values, portrait and the landscape. So if you see here, our media query and the layout builder is get replaced by the orientation builder, and it gives me the orientation object. Now with this orientation object, this orientation is the current orientation of your screen. And you can check with the condition. If it is portrait, then display the vertical layout. If it is not, then horizontal layout. There are also another useful widget to create the responsive UI in Flutter. like fractionally sized box, aspect ratio, fitted box. Let's see some of them. Fractionally sized box. The widget that sizes its child to fraction of the total available space. If you are designing the application and if you say, okay, I want this button should be display only half of the height or half of the width, then in that case, you can use the fractionally sized box. How to use that? The container which has the width 200 and height 100, this gray container you can see over here, and as the child I use the fractionally sized box, and of the child of this fractionally sized box is this button, this green button. Now in this fractionally sized box I mentioned that width factor is half of the container. So this button get the width factor that is the half of this original parent container. Also in the same way you can define the height factor also 0.25. It takes the 25% with a height of this container, gray container. You can define both together with the width factor and with the height factor so that it can take the half of the width and the 25% of the height of the gray container. Next one is the flexible widget in the Flutter. When you want to control the size of child relatively to other child, means if you are designing the application, it is used in the row and a column only. Now let's check this with the example. I want to display this column, but I want to give the, now there are the, I divided this column into the parts, like, and assign, I want to give this three parts of the column to the red container, one part to the green, and two parts to the blue container. How I'm going to do that? So in the column, wrap your container with the flexible widget and assign the parameter flex. Now flex 3, what it gives? It gives the three parts of this column size to the red container. Again flex 1, one part of the to the green container, and flex 2, the two parts of the screen to the blue container. So you can design, you can divide your screen accordingly the flex parameter. Like with expanded, we can divide our row and column equally to the child's. But with the flexible, we can we can divide the screen according to the flex parameter. Now, clients again comes with the new requirement. Clients always keep coming with the new requirement, and they said, okay, now we don't want that extra text below, but we want the text fields over there. And we want the user to enter their name and first name and last name. I said, okay, let's amend that part only. Sorry. So the first part, the image will remain same, but for the second one, I use one form which has the text form field and the another text form field for the first name and the last name. And when I execute it, it will show me like this. The image view and the forms comes with the first name and the last name. I put the first name, last name, but when I rotate the device, the data get just disappeared. That is not good at all, right? When you're filling the, suppose you're filling the huge form and you just rotate the device and all the device data get lost, it is very disappointing. So to preserve this data, the keys come in the picture. Key is the important part in Flutter when you want to preserve data for the stateful widget. Now, in Flutter, everything is widget, and your widget is divided into the stateless widget and stateful widget. Now, what is stateless widget? The widget that is not going to change their state throughout the application, like some text, labels. This is the stateless widget. It remains same, but your text fields, your radio buttons, these are going to be changed their state. So that comes under the stateful widget. And to preserve this data, the keys come in the picture. So there are two types of key in the Flutter, local key key and the global key. Again, the local key is divided into three types: value key, object key, and unique key. Value key is the simple integer type of value you can assign to your widget, and it is get identified by your in your local file. Also, the object key is the complex data type of key, like object of a class. Then like you can assign some object as a key, as a unique value over there, like object of a student or object of a person, you can assign that. Unique key is the unique for your application on that particular form. It will identify that widget through that unique key. And global key is also a unique for that particular widget, but throughout your application. That is the difference between unique key and global key. Unique key within the form, global key throughout the application. So I assign the value key for this text form fields. If you see with the key parameter, value key 1, and for the second text form field, I assign the key parameter value key 2. These two text form fields has the different values now, 1 and 2, but still, when I execute it while rotating the devices, it again disappear the data. Now, what's the matter again here? So the matter is the widget tree. If you see introduction in Flutter, I told you while you design the application, there is at the background there from the widget tree. This is the widget tree of your application, how your application get started: material app, then scaffold, then comes the row. Now, if you see, all are same, but the row and the columns are the different things in this widget tree. So we have to make it same to preserve our data. And that we can do with the flex widget. Row and columns are the descendant of the flex widget. So in horizontal layout and in vertical layout, I just replace the row and column with the flex. And when you give the direction like axis horizontal is similar, behave similarly like a row. And when you give the direction axis as vertical is similarly behave like your column. And again, our forms are same: expanded image view and the form. And after this, by making the widget tree same, when I put my input and rotate the device, I can preserve my data. So the keys plays very important role to preserve the state of the stateful widgets. Now, while learning with the responsive design in Flutter, we come to know that the difference between the adaptive and the responsive applications. What is media query, layout builder, orientation builder in Flutter, how to preserve state in the stateful widget, and the keys in the Flutter. So if you have any question regarding to this or anything else about the Flutter, you can ask me. We are open for everyone now.
Yeah, thank you very much, Yogita. So let's just check the chat. I think so. There is a person who asked the question previously. So he answered. He just gives some remarks regarding your answer. We can check it. So he said, thanks for your earlier answer on the multi-platform question. I understand you can't build the application to the point that you can deploy it into the Apple Store. For this, you need to build on Xcode basis. But just from the code development point of view, concerning layout, behavior, etc., can you do that on Linux? Just building, evaluating, and the debugging the user interface. He said also, I'm trying to decide if it is worth installing on Linux box. I have Windows and Linux system, but no Mac system. I don't know if it's clear.
So it's a in the Flutter documentation for iOS and iPhone, you need the Xcode. Without Xcode, you cannot do that. With the Linux and Windows, it's not possible to design the application for iOS systems.
Okay.
Hope this will answer your question.
Yeah, I hope it's clear for him. I don't know for the other audience if you have some other questions, so don't hesitate to unmute yourself and just ask the question for Yogita. Otherwise, you can just put them in the chat. So I can't see, yeah, I can see other questions. So maybe everything is clear. Thank you very much, Yogita, for your talk. I wanna just to, yeah, if you can just give us an introduction about your next talk in your next workshop on Flutter. So what kind of application we will learn with you to develop?
Okay, so the next workshop is on Flutter is on the 2nd March, and we can develop two or three simple small applications. One application is our profile application where we can learn how to put the images and the text as the introduction part. The first one is how to put images and the text in our mobile application. The second part we can make the multiple screens in the mobile application. We can navigate through the screens. And the third part, we will learn the actual working with the data, how to handle data, how to use the dynamic data in our application.
Okay, clear. I don't know if you have some questions right now or not. So otherwise, thank you very much, Yogita. I want just to take a picture for the group at the end. If you are okay, you can put your camera on. Otherwise, I will just screen from now. Yeah. So thanks a lot, Yogita, for your talk.
Thank you so much for having me.
It was great, and we are looking to attend the workshop and learn more about Flutter application.
Sure. Just install your application, make your system ready for the workshop, so we can do it all together.
So for the workshop, the link, I already put it in the chat. You can just, I will put it again. So you can join us directly. So with the GDG Leuven. I already saw some links for Flutter community in Belgium, in Brussels. So don't hesitate to, to attend also for their meetup to learn more. So I put the link into the chat. So if there are no more questions, we can end the call, I think. I will stop recording. And thank you very much again, Yogita, for your time and all the attendees. And see you soon with the next event.
Thank you so much.